Insightful podcasts by informative hosts. Insights into Things, a podcast network. Welcome to Insights into Entertainment, a podcast series taking a deeper look into entertainment and media. Your hosts, Joseph and Michelle Whalen, a husband and wife team of pop culture fanatics, are exploring all things from music and movies to television and fandom.
Welcome to Insights into Entertainment. This is episode 121, If You Build It. I'm your host, Joseph Whalen, and my loving and inspiring co-host, Michelle Whalen.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing today, dear?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Anything exciting this week?
Ooh, dentist appointment.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Well, for the child.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was today. Oh, an orthodontist. So, woo!
Right.
But I even get to go to the dentist.
But you know what? This week was better than last week because she wasn't at band camp this week.
That is true. Actually, got to see her a little bit more, and
Yep.
she's at band now, but at least it's not band camp. It's just
Right.
regular
Right.
band. So.
So that's not what we're talking about
No,
today.
it's not.
No, well, it is, and we've already talked about it.
Okay, on to the next.
So what we are talking about today in our Disney Detective, will Disney Genie have guests spend less time in line? I'll believe it when I see it. Then the Beauty and the Beast stage show reopens at the studios. And in our Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy, what is Batouise and where do you need it? Plus, how Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie will differ from Ragnarok. And for our entertainment news, did Disney accidentally solve Hollywood's biggest problem? And will they really come if you build it? Yes, they will, by the busload as a matter of fact. And as always, we'll finish up with our insightful picks of the week before some afterthoughts. But before we do that, I would invite our audience to subscribe to the podcast. You can get audio versions of this podcast listed as Insights into Entertainment. You can get video versions of the podcast listed as Insights into Things. We're available pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast: Google, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, and so forth. I would also invite our audience to write in, give us your feedback, tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, suggestions, feedback on shows that are coming up in your area so we can cover a more geographically diverse group of shows that we talk about in our afterthoughts.
Yep.
You can email us at comments@insightsintothings.com. We're on Twitter at insights_things. You can get us at Facebook at facebook.com/insightsintothingspodcast or Instagram at instagram.com/insightsintothings, where you can get links to all of our social media and contact information on our website at insightsintothings.com. Are we ready?
Sure.
Here we go. Go for Disney Detective.
So our first article that we're going to talk about, actually there's been more of an update that literally just came out about an hour, 2 hours ago, and we happened to watch the video that actually came out from Disney parks themselves. But this article was from wdwnt.com talking about at last Thursday's meeting, Disney CEO Bob Chapek had started to kind of hint about the Disney Genie that was going to be launching in this fall. And again, like I said, since again, just a couple of hours ago, they released a video. We went through it. Kind of confusing. There's still not a lot of information, but the idea is that coming this fall, guests are supposed to be spending less time in line and more time having fun. He discussed that the guest-centric services that Disney has been developing for years, including the new Magic Key Pass program for Disneyland and the upcoming Disney Genie app. He also noted that it would be more easily and effective to navigate everything that the parks had to open. And again, more details would soon be coming out. And again, we did see some of that. The idea of it is this Disney Genie, and from what we saw on the video, basically it's going to give you a suggestion as to what time to go to a certain ride. You'll put in your preferences as to what kind of rides you want, that you're interested in, what kind of characters you're interested in, and it'll kind of put together a day for you. It's not the fast pass system because you're still waiting on a line, but it'll say, oh, this might have a 15-minute wait, or this might have a 20-minute wait, and it'll even give you suggestions for food if you don't already have a reservation for something. It'll say, oh, well, since you're going to be in this area, here's a good location to go and grab a bite to eat. And then on top of that, because again, this is the complimentary service, on top of that, there's going to be the paid service, which is the Disney Genie Plus, and that will actually tell you, hey, if you want to go on this ride, click here, and you basically make a reservation, and it might be within the next 20 minutes or so. And when you click on that, then you have to go over to that ride. Now, again, they didn't talk about pricing on this because then there's also the Lightning Lane as well, which is another add-on service, and that almost sounded like a la carte, really, service where it was like a specific ride you would pick to do the Lightning Lane service for that. The one interesting with the Genie Plus that we saw in the video was that Photo Pass was going to be included with that. So that's that almost makes it a little worth it. If you're the type of person that likes to get those special photos taken by the Disney photographers, or now a lot of the rides have special photos as well. So again, we have to wait and see. I think you said you saw an article where it talked about it would be $20.
Yeah, so I read an article on CNN that went into a little bit more detail with it.
Mm-hmm.
So they had mentioned that Disneyland, it was going to be $15. They didn't say what the duration per day,
per
ticket, per what, I don't
whatever,
know. They didn't say that. So Disneyland was listed as 15.
Mm-hmm.
Disney World was listed as 20. And the way they depicted it was your Lightning Lane's your Fast Pass, basically.
Right.
You can have one Lightning Lane active at a time.
At a time.
Once you use that, just like the old Fast Pass used to be.
Right. Once you use it, then you can go and select something else.
They did not mention what the ride restrictions were, but there are supposedly ride restrictions because the other thing that they're doing, and really what the Disney Genie is, it's a search engine with an AI. So what they do is they take your input, they compare it against what the known line trends are that they have, and they'll suggest times to do the rides you want to do when it's trending lower.
Right.
Now, it actively adapts to the day. So,
so
your tip boards that you would normally go out and look at for your wait times are fed into this app as well.
Right.
So you're going to see that these apps are going to be updating those wait times.
Right.
And you'll see it live, which is kind of cool the way that they're doing
right.
that.
And also if there's a ride that's down, you'll see it.
Right. And it's supposed to reschedule your day on the fly. It's not, you don't just pick your stuff and have it set for the day. It's interactive.
Right.
And it's using a little bit of intelligence to it. And that's the one thing I do give Disney credit for is they've really thought this out. And they have it set up for multiple levels of people. So if you don't know anything about Disney, you could just go through and, all right, I like Star Wars. I like Pixar. I like this. I like that. Or pick the type of ride. I like coasters or I like interactive rides. And it'll figure out what you want. Or if you're a little more advanced, you can go in and pick the specific rides that you want.
Right.
Then when you have the Genie Plus, you have the option when you get your rides listed to pick your Lightning Lane. And the Lightning Lane shows whatever the next available Lightning Lane time is. You claim that slot, you show up at the ride, and you walk on just like a Fast Pass.
And I believe it's the same, you have like an hour time.
Yes, they do give you the
time frame.
time. They give you the time frame window, the window in which to
Right.
do
Now,
it
the
in.
one thing that they haven't talked about here, and I'm sure it's going to be talked about, because before, when you had a fast pass, you didn't pay for it. If you missed your window, you were done. It expired.
Right.
You didn't, usually.
Well, and the same thing will happen here. It'll just open up and you can get another window at
Well,
that point.
I guess that's the question, is since now you're paying for so many of the lightning lanes, I guess.
Well, and the funny thing is they don't tell you that there's a limit. You could have
Right.
one active at a time.
Right, but how many do
They
you get
did
per
mention
day?
in the last video that we watched, you should be able to get on 2 or 3 of the rides that you want, which is roughly what you were able to do with Fast Pass, because you could pick 3 things in
I
Fast
was going to
Pass
say
and then
3,
pick one after
right,
that.
exactly. And sometimes we looked at and maybe got 5 fast
Right,
passes.
depending on how we
depending on
scheduled
how
it.
we scheduled the day.
Right.
So,
and you could probably get away with that. Now, the other thing they did mention is, one, you're going to it's going to try to optimize getting on and off rides based on the trending.
right.
You'll also still have virtual queues for rides at a resistance
Right, they
and
did
anything where
say-
you had virtual queues before. So they kind of have these 3 different ways to try to
Right.
keep you out of the line.
It sounded like they were doing what they could to maximize your time on rides and not in line.
Right. And Disney's doing this not to make it convenient for you, just to be clear.
Right.
Disney's doing this so that you're spending more time spending money at the park than
Right.
spending time standing in
Which
line.
we've said for
Yes.
years that they would so benefit from not having people stand in line for over an
Yep.
hour when we went to Galaxy's Edge and we had our boarding pass for Rise of the Resistance. We went and got snacks. We
Yep.
went and did shopping. If we had been standing on that line, that's revenue that
right, that's
Disney wouldn't have
that
gotten
was
out
probably
of us.
$600 they would not have gotten out of us.
Yeah, they really got a lot. from
Now,
us.
I will say I am skeptical of this because the technology they're throwing at this right now depends very heavily on what their traditional models are of their lines.
Right.
And as soon as you put this in place, it's going to throw that entire dynamic out the
Right.
window.
Because things haven't been
Right.
the
Well,
same.
not even that, but you now have an app that's designed to optimize those wait times.
Right.
So you're not going. What you're going to see is you might not have really high wait times or really low. Everything might come into the middle here, and that's really what an app like this. This is kind of what this type of technology does. Is it's designed to throw away those highs and lows
Highs
and
and
then average
lows.
you out into the middle there.
So there's like a 15 to 20 minute wait
Exactly.
for everything.
Everything across the board, which isn't terrible.
Which isn't terrible. I
But-
would be okay with that.
I will mention in every video that I've watched on this so far, at no point in time was Peter Pan's ride ever appearing in that app.
I guess we know it's never
Okay,
going to.
because as soon as the rope drops, there's a 90-minute wait for Peter Pan.
It'll be interesting to see. Well, and again, we're not planning a trip anytime soon. So if this is coming out, I'm guessing probably for October.
Probably, yeah,
for the 50th anniversary of Magic Kingdom, so we can let all the bugs and everything.
I think it's a move in the right direction.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to need to be proven out, and I think once those trends level out, you're going to have to see if the system actually works the way they want it to.
Right. And again, I'm interested to see, because you said it was $20. That was for the Lightning Lane.
Well, 20 was for the Genie Plus.
Oh, that was for the Genie Plus.
Right.
Okay.
So if $20 gets you your Lightning Lane and your Fast
See,
Pass.
I don't think so. I think it's an additional for the Lightning Lane.
Well, because the Lightning Lane's included with Disney Plus is what Genie Plus is what they said.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to have to do some more research and more reading up because we don't want to misquote anything. But if it's $20 a day added on, that's not so bad because, again, if you're getting the photos, because
Right.
just
Now,
the
they
photos
were-
alone are like $150.
They were not very forthcoming with information on the photos. They showed you having access to Photo Pass
Right.
and the special effects. They
Right.
didn't tell you if you were getting all those. Like,
Right.
you could take a picture, because one of the other things the article on CNN mentioned was you're going to have an augmented reality.
The Snapchat
So-
filter, basically.
Right. So
Yeah.
you'll have the ability to pull up your camera through the app itself
right,
and get some of these
Mickey or
filters.
right.
Whether or not that is photo pass like we know it or not is
Right.
another story.
Right.
So
again, a lot to kind of digest and a lot to
and there's a
to come
lot
out.
that's come out on this already from multiple sources,
Right.
all having a different piece of the puzzle, it seems
right.
like.
So stay tuned. We'll probably have more at some point in time.
And as another sign that things are trying to get back to normal, we have a show coming back.
This was kind of good news again. So the Beauty and the Beast live stay show that occurs at Disney's Hollywood studio has now come back as well. So it finally reopened after obviously being closed since the park closed in March of 2020. So when the park reopened, most of the shows hadn't opened up, so it's nice to see. We did report a couple of months ago that the Lion King show had opened up, and now the Beauty and the Beast show. So at the time that this article came out, I think it was the beginning of the week, face masks would be required in the theater as per the current guidelines. So even though the theater, for the most part, is kind of an open air theater, it basically just has a covering, you are still required to wear a face mask. So all the hit songs from the classic animated film are featured, starting off with Belle, and of course it wouldn't be Beauty and the Beast without the musical number of Be Our Guest. The show does close with its normal tearjerker of Beauty and the Beast. The finale, the only change that was noticed in the show was Belle and Prince Adam skipping their kiss in favor of a more physically distanced farewell. So, no kissing.
High five.
High five.
Virtual.
Elbows. So park hours are currently posted through October 30th, with showtimes listed at 11, 1, 2, 4, and 5 daily. So having, a good number of shows throughout the day. Obviously, before you go, check the website and check the Disney Experience app in case there's any updates. So good news that, again, things are starting to open back up. Unfortunately, the COVID numbers are going up as well. And one of the other articles that I happened to see that I didn't throw in was talking about, because unfortunately the COVID numbers going up, a lot of people are actually canceling their reservations. So the occupancy level at a lot of the resorts was up to about 95 for the resorts that are open. Because again, not all of the resorts are open just yet, but now they're starting to see a drop with people that are deciding not to travel. So it'll be interesting to see how things kind of go the next, couple of weeks, couple of months even. So
yeah, it is nice to see them bring this back. This is probably one of my more favorite stage shows that they have.
One of mine as well.
Because it does a very good job of capturing the essence of the movie itself.
In a quick 20-minute show.
Yeah. The only dig I've ever had is that it's not an air-conditioned theater.
Yes.
So I can't imagine how the folks in costume survive on stage in the summer there.
Yeah.
So, but
lots of ice, I'm sure.
yes, because they don't even air-condition the stage, do they?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some cooling mechanism in, in their costume. I don't know. We'll have to ask friends of ours that
might know friends of
cast members that might know.
So that was all we had for our Disney Detective. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy. For over 7 years, the Second Sith Empire has been the premier community guild in the online game Star Wars: The Old Republic. With hundreds of friendly and helpful active members, a weekly schedule of nightly events, annual guild meet and greets, and an active community both on the web and on Discord. The Second Sith Empire is more than your typical gaming group. We're family. Join us on the Starforge server for nightly events such as operations, flashpoints, world boss hunts, Star Wars trivia, guild lottery, and much more. Visit us on the web today at www.thesecondsithempire.com. Go for Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy.
So, if you say "till the spire" in a normal conversation, you'll probably get some pretty strange looks. Say it at Black Spire Outpost in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and, well, you'll still probably get some really strange looks. And it all depends on what level of a fan you're talking to, or whether they know the secret language of Batuu. So when Disneyland's Imagineers dreamed up the new Star Wars land, they envisioned a land that took place outside of the storyline of the Star Wars movies, and that was... Oh, geez, Louise, that scared me.
Special effects.
Wow, that...
Okay. I got remote control monitors. Anyway,
so, woo!
live podcast. Isn't that exciting?
The force is strong in me, so woo! So when they envisioned a land that took place outside of the storyline of the Star Wars movies that was contemporary to Star Wars The Force Awakens, but wasn't contingent on any of the action in the older or still-to-come movies. So that meant that they couldn't rely on many of the franchise's beloved characters to create a true sense of Star Wars-ness. So what they could kind of tap into was that the galaxy far, far away had a vast and as of yet unexplored reaches. So they invented a planet that no Star Wars fan had ever been to, and a planet with a village that serves as a trading outpost for local Batuuans? Is that Batuuans? And visitors from a galaxy far, far away as maybe Frontierland. So what the Imagineers actually envisioned first was actually Tatooine. But when then CEO Bob Iger, according to the Star Tours episode of Behind the Attraction, kind of nixed it in favor for theming it to kind of the seventh Star Wars movie, which at the time didn't even have a script yet. So that's when the whole brand new land came into being, and the Imagineers didn't just want to invent a storyline and two rides to put you inside of some of the iconic pieces of the Star Wars property. So they basically created this whole area, but they also wanted to create a language. So cast members in the galaxy speak Batuuese, is that what we said?
Batuuese.
So not to be confused with Arabish, which is the written language of the land. So if you are in Batuu, you would say bright suns, which means a good morning, or rising moons, which is good afternoon or good evening, or may the spires keep you, which is a phrase of well wishes. Or if you say till the spire, which is a goodbye, or a data pad, which is your cell phone, or if you would say ignite the spark, that's how you would greet people in the Resistance, who then reply, light the fire. Kind of sounds like a pshoo. So obviously there's more phrases and things like that. But what was interesting was in this article, the person talked about how they never heard anybody kind of speaking that. But again, they weren't dressed up as a resistance fighter either. So they were kind of wondering, well, maybe if I wear something, that'll kind of trigger different cast members to say different things. But the interesting thing is that people, cast members that are in the area, don't acknowledge other areas of Disneyland as other parts of the park. They say that that's off planet. So you're not on Pirates of the Caribbean, you're off planet, you're off world. And we even noticed that when we were in Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World, that they tried to use different languages when it came to different things. Like when we had to pay for something, it was 15 credits. It wasn't dollars or things like that. So they did try. So it was kind of a cute little article to kind of help to get you inspired to visit. Obviously, the article goes on to talk about how you can actually download the Disney Play app, and in your data pad that it has some sort of translations as well, and that there was a Disney food blog that had a printable guide of other phrases that you could use as well. So
Yeah, and you're right. When we were down there, they kind of did that, but they didn't do it to the extent that I would have expected them to.
right.
And I think for us, it was probably because of the sheer volume of people that were moving through there.
True.
They build the whole thing as an interactive experience. You could join the Resistance, you could join the First Order, and there wasn't really that presence there aside from the couple of the characters walking around.
Right.
So that's probably something that they need to work on a little bit more, especially if they're going to try and make the Star Cruiser experience seem realistic.
Right, and I think that's the other part of it too, is that once you have the Star Cruiser, there's probably going to be more emphasis
Exactly.
on it.
Because that's part, your excursion there is part of that Star Cruiser
Right.
experience. And if you're spending $6,000 for your experience, you want to have the experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll see if more people start talking the new language or not.
Yeah. We'll see. Because I've read the novels that went along with it, and they tie a lot of the stuff into the novels. In fact, the layout, we have the Sims add-on for it. Maddie plays that, and it's a duplicate layout of what's there. So they're going in big on the experience itself, and they want to sell it.
Right.
But I think your cast members probably need to have a little more incentive.
They probably need a little bit more training with it too.
Yeah. So tell us about Taika Waititi's new Star Wars movie.
So his upcoming Star Wars film has an opportunity to play to the director's strengths and avoid an issue that many viewers had with Thor Ragnarok. So he's one of the latest directors to have his name attached to an upcoming Star Wars project, although little has been told about the in development film. While most of his work is undoubtedly he's known for most of his contribution to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's much more to the director and his style than his work on the third Thor movie. Over the last few years, he has now solidified himself as one of the most unique and quirky directors in modern Hollywood. After earning acclaim with 2014's What We Do in the Shadows, he went on
What We Do in the Shadows.
I was waiting for that. He went on to direct Hunt for the Wilder People and then Jojo Rabbit in 2019, both of which featured the director's trademark fusion of offbeat humor and emotional drama. But even before Jojo Rabbit, the stylish Waititi had caught the eye of Disney, directing the aforementioned Ragnarok in 2017 and then returning in 2022 for the fourth Thor film, Thor: Love and Thunder. He's also stepped into the world of Lucasfilms as a self-described Star Wars superfan, directing and having a small role in The Mandalorian. So now, again, we know that he's developing one of the newer Star Wars movies. When he was asked, if his trademark style would be incorporated, he said, "I tend to go down that little sincerity alleyway in my films. I like to fool the viewer into thinking, ha, it's it. And then them going, oh, darn it, you made me feel something." So the answer seemed to imply that he tends to take the viewer on a ride that will bring out a genuine emotion and perhaps even tug at the heartstrings. So if true, his Star Wars film might very well avoid one of the biggest criticisms of Thor Ragnarok, which is the tendency to undercut genuine emotional moments for the sake of a gag or a joke. So in Thor Ragnarok, it's easily the most comedic of the MCU's films, almost completely eschewing the grandiose sense of scale and drama that was found in the first two Thor movies. Obviously, in our opinion, the third one was probably the best one
Well, I mean,
better than the second at
you
least.
couldn't be worse than the
Than-
first two, I think.
So yeah. So while this approach has helped to make the film a financial successful crowd pleaser, many viewers who follow his work notice that the director's skillful blend of comedy and drama was largely missing. So the MCU's entry might have had a visual flourish and a great sense of humor, but his true strength as a filmmaker weren't employed to their full potential. However, if he was given the freedom to indulge in the emotional drama missing from Ragnarok in the new Star Wars film, it's entirely possible that the acclaimed filmmaker could craft an emotional, resonant, deeply moving, and uniquely special entry into the long-running franchise.
Well, and I think no matter what he does, he's going to do a fantastic job.
I think so.
I am not aware of any projects that he's been involved with that haven't been successful. And he's got one big thing going for him. He's not Ryan Johnson.
I was waiting. You haven't mentioned your bestie in a long time.
That is a win automatically, not being Ryan Johnson doing a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the other thing too, and what you could see very much from any interview that you did when he showed up on the special editions of The Mandalorian thing, is he is a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And that's where, you see Jon Favreau and you see when they just talk about it, the love and admiration that they have.
Fit right in with Filoni and Favreau.
Absolutely.
Like, you expected them during that special to just break out their figures and start playing with them at the table.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're like, oh, you have this one? Well, this is what I have. Like, that's exactly. And that's what Star Wars needs.
Yeah. That's exactly. You need that passion. You need you need the people that want to tell the good Star Wars stories and be true to the universe, not the people that are just trying to make a buck.
Right. Like Ryan Johnson.
Well, yeah. Anyway, Ryan Johnson thought he was too clever for the rest of the world.
Well, that's true too. So yeah.
But that was all we had for our Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy. We'll be right back with our entertainment news of the week.
Insights into Teens, a podcast series exploring the issues and challenges of today's youth. Talking to real teens about real teen problems. Explore issues from braces to puberty, social anxiety to financial responsibility. Each week, we talk about the topics concerning today's youth. We look at how the issues affect teens, how to cope with these issues, and how parents, friends, and loved ones can help teens handle these challenges. Check out our video episodes on youtube.com/insightsintothings. Catch our audio versions on podcast.insightsintoteens.com or on the web at insightsintothings.com.
Go for entertainment news.
So will Disney accidentally solve Hollywood's biggest problem? Probably not. So from thefool.com, this article popped up and it was talking about how it's probably not the way that Walt Disney scripted it out, but when it comes to solving Hollywood's film distribution problem, it seems as if all roads lead to the House of Mouse. So Free Guy was the latest Disney movie to hit theaters this past weekend, and it's approaching distribution in an entirely different way from the entertainment giant's recent releases. Disney is also being sued by Scarlett Johansson, the star of this year's highest-grossing multiplex release. So Disney didn't plan Free Guy's distribution strategy. It also obviously didn't want to trade legal fisticuffs with the Black Widow star, especially since another movie deal has come undone as a result of this standoff. However, as unintentional as these events may be, it could be the reason there's a projector light at the end of the movie production tunnel. So since August of last year, Disney's approach to its planned theatrical releases has taken one of two paths. Its biggest potential blockbuster hits at the time, they were available through Disney Plus's Direct Access for anyone willing to shell out $29.99 for unlimited streaming access to the new release. So Black Widow, Cruella, and Jungle Cruise have gone this route, and it's not a surprise that they're the studio's 3 top grossing films of 2021 in the US market. These films will also be available to all Disney Plus subscribers 3 months after their theatrical premiere. The balance of the Disney slate has either been pushed out to a later release date or just dropped into Disney Plus for the platform's existing subscribers. And that's what we saw with Soul and most recently Luca. So Free Guy is breaking this mold in that it's Disney's first Disney-owned release and more than a year to play exclusively in the theater. It's also a tighter than usual window of movie house exclusivity, as Free Guy can be streamed legally 45 days later, and this wasn't by Disney's design. Free Guy, like next month's Shang-Chi and The Legends of the Ten Rings, all properties that the media company inherited with its acquisition of 20th Century Fox, they are all tied to earlier release deals. So making matters seemingly worse, then when that 45 window of theatrical exclusivity is over, they're actually going to be on Disney Plus's rival, HBO Max. So not even on Disney Plus. So, interesting. So this isn't a bad thing. Disney is now learning a lot about many different flavors of distribution. It'll be better suited to work out the right levers if audiences come back to the movie houses or if they stay away, either as a result of COVID-19 or the evolution of the at-home based streaming. So Johansson's lawsuit over her Black Widow contract may be harder to sugarcoat, but this was a battle that, was going to happen between studios and talent anyway. She negotiated her contract to take a cut of the box office receipts before the pandemic and before premium digital delivery had changed everything. So this is a fight that kind of had to happen, especially since the future may not be as rosy as it had been in the past. So both parties are fighting for bigger slices of a thinning pie. And just as we're seeing salary caps for some sports leagues start to contract as viewership diminishes, the industry is going to have a painful reality adjustment as well. So as everything kind of changes, the whole negotiation of the win-win contract is going to come into play. Disney didn't pick its cards. It was dealt the free guy card. It didn't want to lock horns with Johansson in the legal battle that it now finds itself, and now, because of that, now it's possibly going to lose the Tower of Terror themed movie as well, because her production company was going to be doing that. So everything, is kind of up in the air, and as The Mandalorian says on Disney Plus, this is the way.
Yeah. And this is the kind of that influx period that we had talked about, where this was going to happen, I think, regardless, because of this push to digital streaming. But the pandemic kind of forced it a lot sooner than anybody was ready for it.
Absolutely.
So, this is the way things are moving forward now. We're gonna adjust to it, just same way we did, when HBO first came out and you started getting movies over your cable box and stuff. The entire movie industry was up in arms there.
Right.
They struggled to deal with it. Yeah, they struggled to deal with it and compensate for it, and then you came up with new rules around it. I'm not worried about Disney. I'm not worried about the studios. All the people that were making money before are going to continue making money. How we digest this stuff is really what's up in the air.
And that's the thing is, I think now being able to choose how you want to view it is a nice option to have. If you want to pay $30 or $15 or whatever the premium amount is, because HBO Max, it was $15 for the month,
Right.
and it was like one movie per month was coming out. So, so you could kind of subscribe, unsubscribe, so basically you were paying $15 for that one movie, or Disney doing $30. You figure if a family of 4 was going to the movie theater,
Right.
you'd be spending a whole lot more, plus the food, the drink, and whatever.
Well, but that's the problem. See, and then your theater industry says, well, we're
Right.
missing out on all this money now.
Right. But the other thing, too, is there are people that they prefer to go to a theater to watch the movie because
Absolutely.
they want the whole immersion. They want nothing from the outside world. They don't want, the neighbor's dog barking, or the lawnmower going off, or the phone ringing, or this and that. They want to be immersed, and some people enjoy going to the movie theater with, total strangers that are in it, so that they can
Right.
have that
Right.
moment together.
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
that
there's
jump.
definitely a demand for both mediums. The problem that
Absolutely.
you have is the rules do not apply right now to the streaming. So this is
Right.
why you have situations like Scarlett Johansson, because her compensation package was tied to a theater exclusivity.
Right.
And you're going to have to change your compensation packages now
Right.
moving forward. Are you going to give your talent a larger cut of your streaming service now?
Right.
I don't know if Disney Plus has been around long enough for them to determine if that's economically feasible. And if it is, what percentage can they sacrifice to keep the talent happy?
Right.
It's just too new for them to do the
Right.
economics on it.
Right. And that's the thing, is it was going to happen to somebody.
Right.
Somebody was going to get screwed out of the deal, no matter.
Well, and that's
What?
the thing. Had this not been forced down people's throats because of the pandemic, you could have brought your streaming service out,
Yeah.
not affected your theatrical releases, seen what your income was from that, and then started to decide, okay,
Right.
we're going to bring theatrical releases to streaming now, and here's
Right.
our compensation package.
Right.
And the pandemic, one more thing the pandemic screwed up,
Right. Well, and the other thing, too, is Free Guy, that's been in the can for years.
Yep.
That was supposed to come out years ago. And because of the acquisition and because of the pandemic, it got shelved. Because
Right.
I remember seeing
Well,
attractions
Black
for this.
Widow to a certain extent as well, too.
Right. And that was the thing, because Disney had so many things in the can that they finally got to the point, okay, well, let's put this out.
Well, because every movie that they had, they're in the hole for at this point.
Right. So at least if they released it on streaming, they were at least making
Right.
something.
Somebody
So-
probably should have looked at the contract with Johansson
Oh,
before they released it
absolutely.
on streaming, though.
Absolutely.
So tell us, answer that eternal question of, if you build it, will they come?
So we don't normally talk sports. That's usually not something that we've ever really brought up before in any of our topics. But this was just such a cool story that came out. So in Iowa, a bus carrying the New York Yankees through the cornfields, blanketing the serene rolling farmland of northwest Iowa, one of the players noticed a difference from the usual arrival in the next city. The ride to Field of Dreams site to play the Chicago White Sox on Thursday night had everyone's attention, like a bunch of kids who couldn't believe what they were getting to do. They said it was the first time people had their headphones out and they were just glued to the windows checking out the scenery. We had a lot of guys from different countries who really haven't seen the country like this, or guys from big cities who had never seen an open field or stuff like this. It was pretty cool driving in and seeing everybody in town kind of standing on the side of the roads with signs cheering us on. So this made-for-TV event was delayed a year due to COVID, and had been billed as the first Major League Baseball game in the state that's usually focused on college or community sports. And it was spotlighting by presidential campaigns and fueled by the hog and grain industry. So Aaron Judd, I believe, was... Yes. Sorry. Yeah, Aaron Judge, I knew that, had said that it provided for a pair of picture-perfect images, launching 2 long drives into the corn stalks. Tim Anderson hit his 8th homer of the game and a 2-run liner in the 9th inning that lifted the White Sox over the Yankees in a 9-8 thriller. Anderson delivered a Hollywood ending too, circling the bases as fireworks exploded. So what if it was more of the natural than Field of Dreams? The commissioner of baseball actually had said that this would not be just a one-time visit. He confirmed that a Field of Dreams game would be returning in August of 2022, with the teams to be determined. So the made-from-scratch stadium was built to hold 8,000 fans to watch the White Sox and the Yankees play in one of the most anticipated mid-August games in history. And it was actually placed not too far from where the actual diamond was for the 1989 film starring Kevin Costner. And what was really cool about it was Kevin Costner actually came back for this, kind of stealing the scene of the show with this slow, ponderous stroll out into the field, just like his character from the movie did. And he basically, stopped, and as he was talking, the real players from the White Sox and the Yankees emerged from the cornfield as well. So it was a very Hollywood movie moment that, kind of got you all teary-eyed, just how cool, it was. White Sox slugger Jose Abreu had delivered an instant highlight for the first inning, hitting a line drive that zipped over the fence in left field and vanished into the corn. Judges connected for a 3-run smash in the 3rd and 2-run drive in the 9th. Neither was a can of corn because they both flew far away. So there were rows upon rows of corn between the 2 fields. In fact, in the same spot where Shoeless Joe Jackson and his pals appeared and disappeared during the film, the players were talking about, as a kid, you always wanted to go and visit, and here they actually had the opportunity to do it. The other cool thing is that there's actually a corn maze that's kind of built throughout it, and they actually told the players to be careful not to walk through the maze because they didn't want them to get lost before going and playing the game. They said it was just such a cool experience. Having all of the fans there was just so cool, and just kind of emerging, was just very iconic. So even if you weren't a fan of baseball, just being able to watch this was just a very cool event.
Yeah, it was neat. And when they did it, it was cinematic the way they did it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they had the soundtrack of the movie playing over top of it. They had set up cameras that were panoramic line cameras. So they were spinning around the entire field. It was literally set up to be a movie production.
Oh, absolutely.
The way they did it. And
Yeah.
it just, they captured it in the way that they did. There's a couple of areas where it kind of falls flat, like you got a piece of fencing out there so the people with the cameras are hidden.
Right.
But they came out in the vintage uniforms.
Right, and that added to it, as well.
And it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous venue. It's a stone's throw from the actual field for the movie.
Right, when they do, kind of an aerial shot, you can actually see the original field, which is still there. And that's what's kind of cool, too, is that field is still there as well. So
yeah, and what was really interesting was they built this field. Major League Baseball built a field for an audience of about 8,000 people,
right?
Because they put the stands in. The residents of Dyersville are a total of about 4,000, and they all had first choice for the open public seating that was available.
Nice.
So they gave and you had people that were from the original movie. They're like a costuming group.
Okay.
And they come out in the vintage uniform. So you had those folks that were there to lend
The ghost players.
The ghost players,
Okay.
yes.
Right. So they were there too.
Yeah, so it was really, really well done. And they've already announced they're going to be probably doing this every year now.
Right, they said August of 2022, but different teams would be playing. I think that would be cool. And again, if it's teams that have been around to do their vintage costumes.
Exactly.
I think that would be the thing, is if you keep it the vintage game, that would be kind of cool.
That was neat. And well, and they did say that the seats that were up for sale were going for around $7,000 a ticket to be there. So, but not an empty seat in the house, though.
Yeah.
So, anyway, very cool story.
Yeah, very cool.
And that was all we had for entertainment news, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll be back in a minute with our insightful picks of the week. Go for your insightful pick.
So my insightful pick happens to be a show that was on Apple TV, not one that I would...
We watch something on Apple TV?
You normally do.
That's amazing.
But it was a show that I had heard about, and then once I heard that it was going to be on Apple TV, I was like, oh, we got to renew our subscription so I can watch this. And it is called Schmigadoon. So 2 New York doctors, Melissa and Josh, go on a backpacking trip in an attempt to patch up their failing relationship, only to find themselves still arguing. They get lost and soon discover a magical town called Schmigadoon, which is perpetually trapped in a Golden Age-style musical, and soon learn that they cannot leave town until they find true love, which they thought they already had. So it's a very interesting take on the 1940s movie musical, Broadway musical style. But yet the two of them are, in current day fashion, where everybody that they encounter in the town, they don't know what a cell phone is. They don't know what a movie is. So they keep trying to, kind of inform the townspeople of things that they're used to. Like, they're both doctors. Well, in this area of town, there's only men doctors, and the women are nurses, and the women are the school teachers, and, that whole 1940s thing. So it's interesting because the character of Melissa, she's a fan of of the musicals, so she kind of picks out, oh, this person is like from Carousel, and this person is like from The Music Man, and so she's kind of using her knowledge of Broadway shows to kind of help navigate to try and get them to finally leave the town, where Josh is like totally against it. He's like, I'm not going to sing a song. And it was like, no, you have to sing a song. If you don't sing a song, we're not going to be able to get to the next, the next scene or something. And of course, in the end, they hopefully find true love, because of course they kind of left it with a little cliffhanger. Do they actually leave or don't they? So at this time, I don't know if it's been renewed for a second season. They could totally do one, but if they kind of left it as a one and done, it would work as well. So if you're a fan of the quirky Broadway musical type thing, or even if you're not, because they poke fun at it too, so it's something I think if we went back and you watched it with me, I think you'd have a good laugh at it too. So
okay, good pick.
Thank you.
So my pick this week is a new show that just premiered last week. We're only one episode in. It's actually second episode came out today. It is Marvel's Marvel's What If. I'm sorry, Marvel's What If. What If flips the script on the MCU, reimagining famous events from the films in unexpected ways. Marvel Studios' first animated series focuses on different heroes from the MCU, featuring a voice cast that includes a host of stars who reprise their roles. Following the creation of the multiverse in Loki's first season finale, What If explores the various alternate timelines of the multiverse in which major moments from the Marvel Cinematic Universe films occur differently. The first season of What If premiered on August 11th and will consist of 9 episodes, concluding on October 6th. It's part of Phase 4 of the MCU. A second 9-episode season is already in development. Only 1 episode in, we as a family are already hooked. The animation and action sequences are amazingly fluid and lifelike. The alternate storyline of the first episode was fantastic. I won't give away any spoilers. And it left us wanting to see a live-action movie version of the events depicted in the episode. It did center around the events that happened in Captain America: The First Avenger. I think everyone is already aware of that. They've got the spoilers up on their site. So there's so much potential for this type of show and the method of storytelling that they've chosen to use here. We're eager to see the rest of the series, what the rest of the series has to offer, and are anticipating the touching return of Chadwick Boseman in his last portrayal of T'Challa before his untimely death. And that is actually slated for this week's episode.
Yeah.
On a side note, one of the things that we did pick up for that, and we'll give you a cameo for that. You want to grab it?
Sure.
So one of the things that did come out for that, and Michelle is a avid fan of Pops, and that is the lead characters from this week's episode in pop form. Mm-hmm. So,
see a better picture
yeah, it's probably a
of
better
that.
shot there.
So it's Captain Carter and the Hydra Stomper.
The Hydra Stomper. Sounds like he goes around stepping on hydrants. Yeah, fire hydrants.
Fire hydrants. So, yeah, this happens to be an Amazon exclusive.
Yes, it is.
So, yes, I am a collector of certain Pops.
And who is the best husband in the world now for
You are.
getting you that? Thank you.
You are.
It's not too often I get to toot my own horn, but toot toot on that one.
Toot.
Because you wanted the action figure, which
Right.
is not available
They're
until
not coming out until February.
which is
so.
going to be rough. So that's
But I
my.
think the Pop is cuter anyway. So.
I do too. So that is my pick. Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe's What If on Disney Plus. We'll be right back with some afterthoughts. So, what are we after thinking today?
So again, as we had mentioned, if you have local shows in your area that you want us to give a shout out for, please let us know so we can put them into our notes. So we have the Carnival of Collectibles, which will be September 11th at the it's a free toy show that's at the Carnival of Collectibles. Again, that's a very unique, interesting shopping experience all on its own. So with a little toy show added, not a bad day. Also hosted by toyshows.org is the Delaware Train Show and the Oktoberfest Toy Show, October 9th and 10th. That's the one that is held in Newcastle, Delaware at the Nur Shrine Center, one of our favorite locations to go to for the toy show. And then September 25th and 26th at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center.
RetroCon.
Another fan favorite of ours that's done very well. Lots of retro toys and collectibles, some new stuff shows up there as well. Lots of Pops usually. They usually have the 501st is usually there with a little setup, and they do have a couple of celebrities that show
A lot
up.
of costuming groups. That's where
Yes.
your G.I. Joe costuming group shows up.
Right. Couple of vehicles are
Usually the
there.
A-Team van is there.
Right,
Yeah.
so a couple of different
Wait,
celebrities are there.
Last time they had Gil Gerard there from Buck Rogers.
Right, and they do a couple little panels too, so not huge. So it'll be interesting to see, how they handle it. I think Sunday they do a costume contest, and I think Saturday they do a retro T-shirt contest or something. If you go to their website, there's more information, and as it gets closer, we'll give a little bit more out. Then this past weekend, you had the one Monster Mania, but then in September, the 24th through the 26th, in Hunt Valley, Maryland, will be Monster Mania 47. And then October, moving to Oaks for the first time, is Monster Mania 48, which would be very interesting to see because it's not a venue that they normally hold it at.
Unless it's 120 degrees and they do it out in the
And
parking
they do it
lot.
outside, so completely different. And then the first weekend of October, also at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, is Brickfest. So if you have little ones or you are into Legos, this is a very cool event to go and see.
You know who's into Legos?
Who's into Legos?
Yvette Nicole Brown.
Oh, is she?
Yeah,
You gonna invite her?
She got one for her birthday that she posted on Twitter.
You are such a name dropper. You're so funny. Well, you should tell her, hey, why don't you come to Philly? Because Brickfest is coming.
Well, next time I talk to her, I'll let her know.
Okay, you let her know and tell her that we might be there one of those 2 days. So
Sure.
again, really kind of a cool event. Hard to find Legos are usually being sold there along with current ones. And, you know, displays from the tiniest little thing up into big, giant, you know,
Star
huge
Destroyers.
Star Destroyer displays. And that's it for
It was a
now.
life-size Star Destroyer, too.
Yes, it was.
Yes, if you were really small.
Really small Lego guy.
So anyway, that's all we got. We'll, I guess once we get into September, we'll rotate into the next because
Yeah,
we do have
we're
some
almost-
December stuff to
We
talk
have
about.
November and December.
November and December, yeah. We're running out of time in this year.
Oh my God!
So anyway, I think that was it, right? Before
Uh-huh.
we go, I would once again invite our listening and viewing audience to subscribe to the podcast. You can get audio versions of this podcast listed as Insights into Entertainment. Video versions are listed as Insights into Things on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and anywhere you can get a podcast these days. I would also invite you to write in, give us some feedback, give us some shows that we can plug for you in your area too. You can email us at comments@insightsintothings.com.
You can find us on Twitter at insights_things.
We're on Facebook at facebook.com/insightsintothingspodcast.
You can find us on Instagram at instagram.com/insightsintothings.
Audio versions of this podcast can be found on the web at podcast.insightsintoentertainment.com.
You can find video versions of our podcasts at youtube.com/insightsintothings.
We do stream 5 days a week on Twitch, YouTube, and a few other places. On Twitch, we're at twitch.tv/insightsintothings. If you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you do get a free monthly Twitch Prime subscription. We would greatly appreciate it if you subscribed to our podcast on Twitch.
And if you forgot any of those links or just want to go to our main site that has links to every place else, you can find us at insightsintothings.com.
That's it. Another one in the books.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.